In previous videos, we closely examined Genesis 1 through 3. In this video, we'll closely examine Genesis chapter 4. Please keep in mind that this is only one possible translation. There may be multiple ways to translate this, and there's also probably multiple layers of meaning. Verse 1. The word translated as Adam, number 120, is not actually a name, it's a noun, and it means humans. Genesis 5:2 also clarifies that Adam refers to all humans, both male and female. So it's referring here to the humans. Then the word translated as new, number 3045, also means saw. So it says the humans saw. Then you'll notice there's an extra word here that was not translated. It's word number 853, and it was not translated at all in the Bible, but under word origin, it says it's contracted from word 226 in the demonstrative sense of entity. Word 226 means distinguishing mark. So word 853, eth, is a shorter way of describing a distinguishing mark in the sense of demonstrating an entity, and it's not translated. But the exact same word, eth, number 854, means presence. So this untranslated word after saw may refer to the presence of a distinguishing mark. So this may say, the humans saw the presence of a distinguishing mark on Eve. Then the word translated as wife, number 802, is the Isha, which we're told in chapter 2 and 3 is the hybrid. So the humans saw the presence of a distinguishing mark on Eve, the hybrid. Then the word translated as conceived, number 2029, also means become pregnant. So the hybrid became pregnant. And the word translated as bear, number 3205, also means delivered. So the hybrid became pregnant and delivered. Then notice the mystery word, number 853, appears again after delivered. So it's saying, the hybrid delivered the presence of the distinguishing mark on Cain and said, I have gotten a man. And this word translated as man, number 376, means human, but it also means servant. So I have gotten a human servant from the Lord, and this word translated as Lord, number 3068, refers to Yehovah or Yahweh in the ancient spelling. So verse 1 can say, the humans saw the presence of the distinguishing mark on Eve when the hybrid became pregnant and delivered the presence of the distinguishing mark on Cain and said, I have gotten a human servant from Yahweh. This makes sense because in Genesis 2 and 3, we're told that Yahweh created the hybrid by taking a cell from the humans and made the hybrid beautiful so the humans would marry them. So it's definitely true that the hybrid has a human child because of Yahweh. And before we move on to the next verse, let's take note of the meaning of the names. The word Cain means possession, but notice under origin it says it's the same as word 7013 with a play upon the affinity to word 7069. So it's the same word as 7013, which means spear. So Cain also means spear with a play upon the affinity to word 7069, which means to get or acquire. So it's saying that the name Cain means possession or to acquire spear. In other words, Cain is the possessor of this spear, and Abel means breath. Then verse 2, the first actual Hebrew word here is again, then word 3205, which we know means delivered. So again, delivered. Then the word translated as brother, word 251, also means another. So again, delivered another, Abel. And Abel, it says, was a keeper of sheep. But this word translated as keeper, number 7462, also means ruler. So Abel was a ruler. And the word translated as sheep, number 6629, also means multitude. So Abel was the ruler of a multitude. Then this word translated as tiller, number 5647, also means made a servant. So Cain was made a servant. And the word translated as ground, number 127, also means land or territory. So verse 2 can also read, and again delivered another, Abel, and Abel was the ruler of a multitude, and Cain was made a servant in the territory. Then in verse 3, the first Hebrew word was translated as process, number 7093, and it also means after. So after a time, Cain, the possessor of the spear, brought fruit. But this word translated as fruit, number 6529, also means offspring. So Cain brought his offspring. Then the word 127, which means land or territory, and the word translated as offering, number 4503, also means tribute. So Cain brought his offspring of the territory as a tribute to the Lord. And again, the Lord here is Yahweh. So verse 3 can also say, and after a time, Cain, the possessor of the spear, brought his offspring of the territory as a tribute to Yahweh. Then verse 4, and Abel, the breath, also brought of the firstlings. And this word translated as firstlings, number 1062, also means firstborn. So Abel also brought the firstborn of the flock. And this word translated as flock, number 6629, also means multitude. So the firstborn of the multitude. And the fat, word number 2459, which also means best part. So the firstborn of the multitude, the best part. Then the word translated as respect, number 8159, simply means looked at. So Yahweh looked at Abel's offering, and again this word also means tribute. So Yahweh looked at Abel's tribute. So verse 4 can also say, and Abel also brought the firstborn of the multitude, the best part, and Yahweh looked at Abel's tribute. Then verse 5, the first actual word of the text is Cain, then offering, which we know also means tribute. So Cain's tribute. Then the word translated as respect, number 8159, is the same word used for Abel's offering. It simply means looked at. So Cain's tribute, looked at. And Cain was very wroth. But this word translated as wroth, number 2734, also means grieved. So Cain was very grieved. Then the word translated as countenance, number 6440, also means because and appearance. So Cain was very grieved because his appearance fallen, or word number 5307, which also means fell short. So the end of verse 4, continuing into verse 5, can also say, and Yahweh looked at Abel's tribute, and Cain's tribute they looked at, and Cain was very grieved because his appearance fell short. So as a side note, we know Yahweh refers to more than one person because in Genesis 11:6 and 7, it says the Yahweh said, let us go down. So in Genesis 4, Cain and Abel are bringing tributes to a group of people. So if the Yahweh are a group, they should always be referred to in the plural. Cain and Abel represent groups of people as well. This is clear because Adam is all humans, both male and female, which means their offspring are tribes as well, the tribe of the spear, Cain, and the tribe of the rulers, Abel. The fact that these names refer to tribes becomes even more clear in chapter 5. So for now, the Yahweh looked at both Cain and Abel's tributes, which were basically their children, and the tribe of the spear, Cain, were grieved because their appearance fell short. So it's not about a singular person's appearance, it's about the whole tribe. And we're told in verse 1 why this is. Cain has the distinguishing mark and Abel doesn't. We're not told what this distinguishing mark is yet, but we know it has something to do with being a hybrid. Okay, then verse 6, the Lord said, and this is Yahweh, so Yahweh said, Cain, wroth, countenance fallen. So again, the word translated as wroth, number 2734, also means grieved. So, and Yahweh said Cain is grieved. Then word number 6440, which also means because and appearance. So Yahweh said Cain is grieved because his appearance. Then word 5307, which means fell short. So verse 6 can also say, and Yahweh said Cain is grieved because their appearance fell short. Then verse 7, the first word is if. Then the next actual word of the text is translated as well, number 3190, and it also means to make beautiful. So if we make them beautiful, then the word translated as accepted, number 7613, also means raise up. So if we make them beautiful, they will raise up. Then again, word 3190, which also means be accepted. So they will raise up and be accepted. Then the word sin, number 2403, which also means sinner and stems from word 2398, which means go wrong. So they will raise up and be accepted, but go wrong. Then word 7257, which means rest. So go wrong and rest at the door. Then the word translated as desire, number 8669, also means longing. So rest at the door, longing. Then the next actual word of the text is rule. So verse 7 can also say, if we make them beautiful, they will raise up and be accepted, but go wrong and rest at the door, longing to rule. In other words, the Yahweh did not want to fix Cain's distinguishing mark. Remember, the Yahweh made the hybrids beautiful in Genesis 2 and 3, but now their offspring are born and are not using the image, and they have the distinguishing mark of the hybrid. But the Yahweh have decided not to let them use the image, basically, because, well, it sounds like they think it will cause them to become lazy and covetous. Then verse 8, Cain talked, and this word translated as talked, number 559, also means thought. So Cain thought. Then the word translated as with, number 413, also means against. So Cain thought against. And this word translated as brother, number 251, also means brethren. So Cain thought against their brethren Abel. And the next Hebrew word translated as field, number 7704, also means wild. So thought against their brethren Abel, and in the wild, Cain rose up against Abel. And again, the word translated as brother also means brethren. So rose up against Abel, their brethren. Then word 2026, which means kill or murder. So rose up against Abel, their brethren, and killed them. So Genesis 4, verses 1 through 8 can also read, the humans saw the presence of the distinguishing mark on Eve when the hybrid became pregnant and delivered the presence of the distinguishing mark on Cain and said, I have gotten a human servant from Yahweh. And again delivered another, Abel, and Abel was the ruler of a multitude, and Cain was made a servant in the territory. And after a time, Cain, the possessor of the spear, brought his offspring of the territory as a tribute to Yahweh, and Abel, the breath, also brought the firstborn of the multitude, the best part. And Yahweh looked at Abel's tribute, and Cain's tribute they looked at, and Cain was very grieved because their appearance fell short. And Yahweh said, Cain is grieved because their appearance fell short. If we make them beautiful, they will raise up and be accepted, but go wrong, and rest at the door longing to rule. So Cain thought against Abel, their brethren, and in the wild, Cain rose up against Abel, their brethren, and killed them. We're going to stop there for this week. Thank you so much to those who make this work possible. If you like this video and want to see more like it, please consider providing support using the link below this video or at indigoflower.net. For more information on the recent fulfillments of Bible prophecy, see the link here. I hope you're doing well, and we'll continue this next week.